Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Helen and today I'm going to be talking about 10 of my favourite Halloween reads. The first book I'd like to talk about is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This is incredibly well known and it follows a man called Victor Frankenstein who essentially attempts to create the perfect human by robbing graves, stealing from medical schools, etc., taking all the best parts of men he can find and putting them together. However, when he eventually does create this man, he realises how it has been a horrible mistake and cannot bring himself to look upon what he has made. He therefore runs away and the creature follows him and tracks him down, trying to find out why his creator has abandoned him. Book 2 is another incredibly well-known classic and it is Dracula by Bram Stoker. This is about a man called Jonathan Harker who travels to Transylvania in order to sell Count Dracula a house in London. The house Dracula buys, however, what Jonathan Harker does not know is that Dracula is a vampire. He comes to England and begins to turn people, and Jonathan Harker, his wife Mina and his friends are forced to try and stop him. Book 3 on my list, jumping forward, is Lips Touch by Laini Taylor. This is a series of 3 short stories called Goblin Fruit, Spicy Little Curses and Hatchling. Each of these deals with a different supernatural creature. Goblin Fruit is goblins, Spicy Little Curses is a demon and the ambassador of hell, and Hatchling is all about a changeling. They are really nasty and really fun, and yeah, a great 3 short stories. They're all fairly creepy, but if you get creeped out quite easily, these aren't too creepy, if that makes sense, because I really hate like full-on horror, but I read this fairly easily. Book 4 is Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury, another, I guess, Halloween classic. This is about 2 boys who, in the week leading up to Halloween, go to Kuja and Dark's Pandemonium Shadow Show. However, everything is not as it seems at this circus/festival, and they soon realise that something is incredibly wrong with it. This is a really great book. Ray Bradbury is incredibly masterful at writing about darkness, but he's also incredibly good at creating complex, multi-layered characters. The next book is one of my favourite books of this year, and it is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This is also about a circus, however this circus is not quite like the circus in Something Wicked This Way Comes. This follows 2 young people, a man and a woman called Celia and Marco, who have essentially been forced to compete against each other in magical talents, and their fathers or mentors watch over them and decide who wins. And the stage for this is of course the Night Circus. However, things change as the book goes on, and it is one of these books that is incredibly beautifully written, and I cried when I finished it because I didn't want to leave the world behind. And yeah, it essentially comes alive while you read it. One of these characters is an illusionist, and I'm fairly sure Erin Morgenstern is an illusionist as well, and this book is the illusion because it feels so real. The next book on my list is The Daylight Gate by Jeanette Winterson. This is incredibly short and the font is sort of huge and doesn't fill up much of the page, but it is really good. It's set at the time of the Pendle Witch Trials, which happened in Lancaster and were sort of England's equivalent of the Salem Witch Trials. We hung, I'm not sure how many, 13 to 15 people, but many more died before that because of the conditions they were kept in. And this follows the family who were essentially murdered, and it is all about them. There's not much else to say about this. This also has another character in it, Alice Nutter. which if anyone's read Good Omens, I'm fairly sure is a reference to Agnes Nutter. So this has Alice Nutter in, and she is another main character, and it is about her and her past, which is a big mystery. This book does have quite serious trigger warnings for sexual violence. It's one of the reasons that this book has stuck with me for so long. It not only talks about the witches, and it not only has magic and superstition and things in, but it also talks a lot about the male violence towards women at this time. It is excellent. Jeanette Winterson is an incredible writer, and I highly recommend it. My next book is The Little Stranger by Sarah Walters. This is set shortly after the Second World War, and it is about the Ayres family who live at Hundreds Hall. They are haunted by something, and it is unclear to a doctor who comes to look after them if they are haunted merely by their old way of life, which is slowly crumbling around them, or if a more tangible thing is living in the house and haunting them. If you don't like books with open endings, I wouldn't recommend reading this. I really enjoyed the open ending, and I enjoyed the capacity to imagine what happens and decide for yourself what is truly going on in the household. It's very unnerving, parts of this book. It does have trigger warnings for self-harm. My next book is The Diviners by Libba Bray. This is a book, as you can see. This is set in the 1920s in America, in New York. Evie O'Neill has recently been sent from Ohio. Does it say on the back? She's been exiled, I think it's Ohio, from her boring old hometown to New York to stay at the Creepy Crawly Museum with her uncle. However, Evie has a secret. She can tell things about people from objects that she sees, finds. So she decides to try and use this power to hunt down a murderer who is causing chaos in the streets of New York. My second to last book is A Skinful of Shadows by Frances Hardinge. This is about a young girl called Makepeace, who is a Puritan, or is descended from Puritans, living at the time of the English Civil War between Royalists and Republicans. Makepeace is sent to work for a family, her mother's family, I think. Her mother was a servant there. However, once she gets there, it turns out that not everything is as it should be. And as it says on the back, sometimes when a person dies, their spirit goes looking for somewhere to hide. Some people have space within them, perfect for hiding. So, yeah, she goes to stay with this family, or work at this family's grand house, and they expect certain things from their servants. My final book is Spellbook of the Lost and Found by Moira Fowley Doyle. I hope I pronounced all of that right. This is set in Ireland, I think, and it is about two girls, Rose and Olive, who begin to lose things, and soon they meet another group of people who have also lost things, and they sort of team up to try and work out what's going on. But they then discover an ancient spell book full of hand-inked charms to conjure, I'm reading off the back now, to conjure back lost things, and they realise it might be their chance to set everything right. But it leads them towards secrets that they shouldn't be finding. This is a dual split novel, dual perspective, I guess, novel. It also follows a group of children years earlier who begin to find things. So, it's great. Trigger warnings, I think, for sexual assault. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, maybe comment if you've read any of these. I'm really excited to know what you guys think of them. Sorry I'm so bad at ending videos. That's about it. Please subscribe if you'd like to. I hope you found this video entertaining, and I hope that whatever you do, you have an incredible Halloween and it's fun and spooky and all of the other stuff Halloween is. So yeah, Bye, see you next time.